Welcome. In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating the Concentric Circles app developed by Neighborhood Technology Solutions. In this video, we're going to take a look at the app itself and some of the features and functionality that you can expect as you begin to use it. Before we begin, I want to cover the concept of the concentric circles and how it's going to be employed. So you can think about it as a ring in the center, followed by rings on the outside. And the goal is that as you place people in these different sections of your diagram, you're trying to understand how people are moving towards the center. So without any further introduction, let's take a look at the app. When you first load up the app, you see you're greeted with your concentric circles in the middle, and there are some other things around it. So let's take a look at some of those things. At the bottom, you have a section where you can add your narrative about your concentric circles project. This could be about your neighborhood or your network or really anything that you are going to want to remember about the project. For example, you could write about different learning objectives that you have in the neighborhood or with your friends and family. I'm going to go ahead and just write Rogers Park started outreach in 2021. Now, I should mention here that the data presented in this demo is not necessarily accurate. It's just for the sake of showing you how the app works. Then if you go back into the middle, you're presented with your concentric circles with the labels at the bottom of its sections and plus icons inviting you to add people to the different parts of your sections. Let's go ahead and add someone and see how it works. So I'll go ahead in the innermost part of the concentric circle and give it a title. This is because the idea of concentric circles has changed over time, and I can imagine it will in the future. Let's go ahead and name the innermost circle as the nucleus and hit save. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a person. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add myself, maybe. That's probably the best thing to do. You can also write a bio about that person. What are the different things you know about them? What are the different things you want to remember about them? Let's go ahead and just say that I'm married with no kids, likes to play pickleball. That's probably a fun place to start. And then you can go ahead and add that person. Oh, before I do that, you can also mark any node, any person you create as yourself. Let's go ahead and do that. And you can also assign a color here. Let's go ahead and do blue. And what blue will mean is that this person comes from a Bahá'í family. That's probably good. Let's go ahead and add them. Now you can see your concentric circle has updated. There's one person in the innermost ring. Also in your project narrative, you can update what different colors mean. So blue, we said, comes from a Baha'i family, so I'll go ahead and do that. And I'll go ahead and save. Let's go ahead and add someone else. I'll go into the section. Let's go ahead and name this in the conversation and save. Let's go ahead and add my wife, Adrian, and let's go ahead and update her bio. Okay, let's go ahead and update her color to be green. This is going to mean that the individual later declared as a Baha'i in life. Now, you'll notice another thing is that when you're adding a person, you can also add relationships with other people in your concentric circles project. Simply by searching any available person, I see I'm there, you can add a relationship. Let's go ahead and say that Adrian and Mateen are married. Once you do that, you can go ahead and add the relationship and you see it pops up. You don't just need to have one relationship. You can add as many as you'd like. Let's go ahead and add another one. So again, with Mateen, I will go ahead and create another relationship and say co-animating. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and add the relationship. Now you can see um, Adrian now has a relationship with me 2 times. We are married and we co-animate. Let's go ahead and add one more person in the middle ring. This middle ring is going to be participating. And let's add Logan. And let's go ahead and we said blue comes from a Baha'i family. Bio, let's just say he's a doctor. And I'm not going to give him a relationship, and we'll go ahead and add. Now we see that we have one person in the innermost ring, then another person outside of that, and then another person even further. Now, if we zoom in, we can see that we have our labels at the bottom sections of the rings. But then if we zoom in even further, you can begin to see all of the people that you've added as little dots on your canvas. This is called the galaxy view. And basically, what it allows you to see is the relationship that people share and where they reside in the circles. You can go ahead and interact with your project directly from this view. If you would like, from the top left, there's a little add person icon, the plus button, that allows you to continue to add people directly in this view. In the bottom right, you have a home button that resets to the circle view that you can go ahead and see your narrative or just the total number of people in each section. With the galaxy view, you can also interact with the people that you see. It's not just visuals. So you can click on a person and begin to edit their profile. Similarly, you can see that the one that you marked as yourself has a little glow ring around it to let you know which one is yourself. If you see this line, this indicates a relationship between people. You can go ahead and click on it and it will tell you the relationship. And if there's multiple, it'll just tell you the first one and then that there are more. Directly here, you can go ahead and pull people into the part that you think they should be in. This is really helpful as people move closer to the center, which is exactly what this project is designed to do. So I've went ahead and moved Adrian from being in the conversation to being in the nucleus. Now you can see that if we go to her profile, at the below the edit person title or to the right, depending on your device, you have an edit history. Here you can see all of the different ways that you have updated and edited the people in your Concentric Circles project. So here for Adrian, we just have an edit log that we just created her. There was no other piece of information. But what you will notice is a ring journey. Here you can see that it marks where the person started in your project and where they are moving to. There is a little bit of a delay, which is intentional because I was thinking about the principle of moving someone and then maybe talking about it and then moving them somewhere else. So if that happens in a short period of time, about a minute, it will just record their final location. So here you can see that Adrian went from in the conversation to being in the nucleus. How wonderful. At the top, we have a search bar that allows you to search different information about the people that are in your project. For example, shoot, there was someone who loves to cook. Who is that? Oh, yes, Adrian. And it tells you exactly their name and their bio. And you can go ahead and view, and it shows you that person in the galaxy view with all of their networks. Or if you went ahead and did something like edit, it would bring up the person view, allowing you to see even greater detail and edit it further. Below the search bar, you have a few helpful things about the overall project. In the middle, you have your title, where you can go ahead and name what you're working on. For example, I'll say this is Rogers Park. On the left, you have your folder icon, which allows you to create new projects or view existing ones. This is really helpful if you're building multiple concentric circles. For example, you have one with you in the neighborhood, maybe one with you in your family, if that's different, and then one with you at work. So you can host different projects. On the right of the title, you see a project history. This allows you to see all of the different projects that you have worked on or shared or others have shared with you. In the top right of the app, you have a menu icon that allows you to do a few different things. You can see an activity log, which is all of the different edits you've made across your project in its entirety. Then you have the ability to sign in, and we'll get into that later. Then you have a few bits of project settings as well. For example, light mode and dark mode, as well as seeing things in dots, lines, or labels. So if I was to zoom in into my project, right now we can see the lines, which is the default. But let's say I just wanted to go ahead and see the dots. I didn't want to see all the lines. That's too distracting. Or if I have a reason to see the labels, I would go ahead and do that, and you can see the labels between the different people. In addition to that, we also have the ability to customize the sections that you have in your project. So right now I have three. Let's say I wanted two or one, or I want to go all the way up to six. In this space, you're also able to rename the different sections that you have. Now you'll notice something really interesting. I'm not able to go below two sections here. I wonder why. Well, that's actually because the model is data aware. So because I have individuals in the second ring, it won't let me go below that as to not remove them from the project or hide their view, for example. So now that I've moved everyone into the nucleus, I can go back and then reduce the number of sections all the way down to one. This is really helpful if you're building a concentric circle, but the concept is a little confusing and you want to start all the way from the basics of who's just in the nucleus and branch out from there. Once you have your project all ready to go, or you're still working on it, you can go ahead and share that, and then others can view your project. Now let's take a look at some of the premium features the Concentric Circle app has to offer. All right, let's take a look at the app in desktop mode for a larger viewing experience. Here you can see I've generated some demo data to help us take a look at some of the more premium features. I don't think this demo data is going to be accurate to realistic concentric circles, as I imagine a lot of the concentric circles people create will be much smaller, maybe going into the hundreds or few hundreds. But here you can see we have 1,000 different people. There's 100 in the nucleus, 300 in participating, and 600 in the conversation. The first premium feature I want to demo are attributes in AI Ask. Now, when you go in to add a person to your concentric circle, you might have noticed there's a section I didn't cover earlier called attributes. Attributes are key value pairs that allow you to synthesize data across all the people in your concentric circles project. All you have to do is give the value a name. For example, I will go with age and then what that value is. So now you can add data points, allowing you to filter and view and ask questions much easier about the data. Let's go ahead and add a few more. For example, we have age. I'm going to go ahead and add school. You can see as I begin to write the value, it automatically understands if it's a number, a date, a text, or a true or false value. Let's go ahead and add a few more. You can keep adding as many attributes as you want about a person in order to gain the best insight all across your concentric circle. So you see I've just added a last visit date. Once I go ahead and submit that on the right, you see the value is updated to date. I'll go ahead and add one more before continuing. Attribute mother is yes. And you can see it automatically updates once again. Now, why would you want this? Well, you can now filter across all of your concentric circles by pulling out those who are youth, those who are mothers, and asking really insightful questions. Now, you don't just have to ask those questions to yourself or to another team member that you're working with. You can actually ask an AI model that's been built in from the ground up. This is an in-house model built upon Google Gemini's framework. How the AI Ask works is you just have to activate it on the top left here next to the search icon and begin asking about your network. I think this is really how people are going to interact with this. If you have more than like 100 people in your project, this is how you'll work. You can start to ask things like, how many mothers are in the conversation? And you can see it's going to do its thing and it automatically brings up there's 180 mothers in the conversation. It goes ahead and lists the direct matches. You can go ahead and click them to see where they are in the concentric circle, who they have relationships with, and what color they are. You can also see all of the referenced people. So here in this example, the AI model didn't return anyone that isn't a mother, but there are some cases where it will. This is for the purpose of really getting the larger picture, so you never have to ask, did the AI model miss someone or did it not consider this person or something like that. Let's go ahead and ask one more question. I want to see about people that have a lot of connections, right? If we're sharing a message and I want to give it to one person and have it reach as many people as possible, who is that one person that I give the message to? Okay, here the AI answer came back saying, to reach the most number of people possible, you should give the message to Matthew Smith, Richard Martinez, or Jennifer Smith. They are all ring bridges, meaning they connect different social circles, and each has the highest relationship count of 16, indicating broad influence. You can see it's brought up one of the individuals. Now, because of the overlay, we're not entirely sure who this is, but you can see they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 connections right away, and then it branches out to those other people. So the AI model has a deep, profound understanding of every aspect of your data, the people, the bios, the attributes, its connections, how they span across the different rings. You can also ask it about your project narrative, your color labels, your title. I think the possibilities here are endless. Now, whatever your relationship is with AI, just know that this is business level data that's only being passed through Google and returning a result. Google is not collecting this data for analytics purposes or advertising purposes. You can trust in the business that we are not here to just sell your data or to create a good product with you at stake. All right, let's go ahead and show you now how you can share a project with your friends and your collaborators and anyone who wants to gain insight into your concentric circle. Now, when you have your project, you can share it with people up to 90 days for them to gain insight into what you're working on and essentially see a snapshot. But that's not the only way to share your project. You can also share a live link that allows multiple collaborators to work on your project with you. Now, how does this work? At the top right, you can click on your profile. You need to be signed in to share. You click your share, and then you have options for link expiration, which is how long you want the snapshot to last. Now, if you're a free user, you get up to 90 days before it gets deleted off of the server, but you can always reshare it off of your device. Projects never get deleted off of your device. Now, you also have the ability to live share. You see this section here, you click on live share, then you can enter as many emails of collaborators as you would like. Let's go ahead and try one. I'll go ahead and enter this other email of mine, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit add. Now, this is just some demo data that we're going to use to show this example. Now I'm on my phone, and I'm gonna go ahead and open the Concentric Circles app. You can see right away that it shows that I've joined the project and I'm in the same project. If I go ahead and zoom in on my phone, we can see the same setup as we have on our desktop. As a user updates the project, whether it's the narrative, the title, adds people, moves people, it live reflects on everyone's devices at once. I'm gonna go ahead and show this first with the project narrative. So I'll go ahead and open it up on my phone and then open it up on the desktop and go ahead and type started outreach. Now you can see without much delay, whatever I was typing on my phone shows up on my desktop. This is great as you're collaborating with your friends on the same project. If I go ahead and I look into the galaxy view and I go ahead and move around a person, you can see it live updates on everyone's devices, allowing you to cross collaborate even when you're not together. As you update the data live, everyone gets access to it. Now, you've made it to the end. I want to show you one special feature that I've been working on that I think you're going to love. If you add a person in their attributes section, as soon as you enter in the attribute name address, something really cool will happen. You see the text field for the value turns into a search address field. If you enter in an address, you'll see a drop down appear. Now you're able to enter in addresses for the people that are in your concentric circles. Why is this important? Because sure, you can interact with the data and addresses, but also to the right, you have a map view that then allows you to see all of the people in your concentric circles with their location and how they're all connected to each other. So then you'll essentially... All right, I hope you enjoyed that presentation. Here's a summary of everything that we've covered and the cost breakdown. If you wanted to subscribe, we're doing early access now. So all you have to do is email me and pick the plan that you want to be a part of. For the builder, that's the free plan. You can have it on your phone on Android and iOS. You can build as many projects as you want locally and share them up to 90 days when you sign in with an account. And again, the person who receives your project doesn't need to have the account or the app. They can view it on the web. You can also join and work with other people who have live share projects. So you don't have to host them yourself. You can join and work on them. Then we have the Share Plus, which is the $4.99 plan. This is everything in the free plan, plus you get the desktop mode to build projects with a larger canvas and share it easier. You have unlimited snapshot durations, you go beyond the 90 days, and you can host one live share project of your own. And then you can also join other live share projects when the host is not there, which is a limitation of the free plan. Then we have the Insight plan at $9.99 a month. This is everything in the Share Plus, so it's the desktop and the live share and the unlimited snapshots. Plus, you get the attributes and 300 AI ask requests a month. At the 10 AI ask requests a day, you'll get a little notice like, hey, you're going over your recommended limit, but it's fine. You can go past it. You can use the 300 however you want. You also can host up to 3 live share projects to collaborate with your friends. Then lastly, we have Insight Pro. This tier is really just for people who don't want any limitations on their projects, on their apps. This is the one I probably would use. It's everything below it. So you have the sharing, the attributes, the AI ask. You also have unlimited of everything. So you can ask as many AI questions as you need to. You can host as many live share projects as you want. Plus, this is where you get the Google Maps overlay. You can enter in as many addresses as you need to and see them all connect on a map. I'm also doing a special tier. This is called the preview tier for just $5.99 a month. So it's $1 more than Share Plus. You get the attributes and you get 30 AI ask questions a month. That's about one question a day. And you can host a live share project. So if you want to do a little test run of the features, you don't want to pay so much, you also don't know where you're at, I highly recommend trying that one out for 1 month and seeing how it goes. But let me know. You can email support for early access now and choose whichever plan that you like. The final thing I'll say is a comment about importing data from other sources. I had this brought up to me as I was building this application. Hey, is it going to be able to import things from Excel or other projects or other applications? And intentionally at this stage, I decided not to do that because I believe that building a concentric circle, doing this project from scratch, from the ground up, will provide a lot of benefit and insight. Sure, it may take some time, but I think you'll really get to understand all the people in your network, how they all relate. You also won't have a lot of clutter as you import data. But of course, this is something to revisit in the future if there's a high demand. My ultimate goal here is to replace Google Sheets for a lot of people who are keeping track of personal relationship data. So if you're like keeping track of how people are interacting in a Google Sheets, this project is for you. And I hope that in a year or two, Google Sheets is completely eradicated for this purpose. So let me know. I'm excited for your feedback and see you soon.